Let's look at a major game design issue. The teacher's pet. All designers, when we build a game, have favored features or ideas that seem really awesome. But sometimes in playtesting, that idea starts not working so well. There's a couple ways of handling this. One is to warp and deform the game so your pet idea can stay. A second idea is to do things to mitigate the harm your cool idea causes so it doesn't really ruin play. But what you really need to do is kill the thing you love. Kill your children. Get rid of it and move on. It's really hard because you're intellectually and emotionally attached to the idea. It's really easy to convince yourself that your ugly duckling deserves an outing. People will love it if they can just see it in action. Let me pull an example from my soon-to-come hyperspace game. In the early design, I had 4 resources: metal, atomics, organics, and credits. Credits were money. I actually used dollar bills from the first edition of Arkham Horror. When a player produced, there was also a taxation segment which made credits. So how are credits used? Well, I had markets like in the image here. Each turn you could buy or sell atomics, metal, or organics using credits. When you bought a resource, the price went up. This was universal, so if 3 players all bought metal, a player who had excess metal could then sell his metal and pocket lots of credits. I had technologies and alien abilities and secrets and all kinds of things that affected the market. I had tons of intricate systems supporting it. I loved my markets. It was so high-tech and cool for a space game. And it seemed realistic. But it slowed the game down. Not just because people had to stop to check and adjust the market tracks, but because it sometimes led to a resource being too scarce, which hurt everyone. If metal had gone up to 10 credits, nobody wanted to risk their Starfleet in battle. It would cost a fortune to replace. Finally, some players were starting to turn the market into a game in itself, where people would fiddle in with the market instead of playing hyperspace. In the end, I had to make a decision. I was trying to build a game about planetary conquest and deep space battles, not the stock market. So one day, when the tester showed up, the market was gone. There was puzzlement and regret. It had its points, the markets weren't all bad, but the game was much smoother and faster without it. But the real question is, how could I give up such an awesome feature? Markets are brilliant. I can't speak for other designers. But the way I kill my kids is to pretend that I'm not really getting rid of it. Yeah, I took it out of hyperspace, but I save it out in another file. I tell myself that somehow, someday, I'll use this idea in another game. It's not dead, just, resting. Someday. Will that day ever come? Well, for some of my ideas, it never has. But yes, on occasion. For example, when I worked on the Age of Empires series, it had 4 resources: stone, gold, wood, and food. Now, these resources changed with Age 3 and Age 4, not Age 4, but Age of Mythology, but there were still 4 resources you had to juggle. This led to lots of fun calculations and interactions, which I liked. So I wanted to take this from the computer field, and put it in my board games. But, in Cthulhu Wars, there's only one resource: power. When I did the Gods War, I started with other resources. I had wood, I had gold, but in the end, went back to just using power. It was simpler and more fun. So this is like 5 or 6 years I haven't been able to have a multi-resource game. When I designed hyperspace, at last I was able to find a way to have multiple resources, and there are a bunch. Atomics, organics, metal, hypertokens, credits. Wait, scratch that, no credits. All these resources interact with one another and the players in interesting ways, and it makes the game more fun instead of bogging it down like it would have in my earlier games. So I am content. At last I designed a multi-resource board game, so that checked off an idea from my graveyard of discarded concepts. Now I can move on to some other idea that I had that didn't work, and see if I can make that go in.